Hey guys, it's your boy Eli and Kelvin from the Geek Centurions, along with Joey.
Yo, yo.
We're here at our own home because none of us had time to go to a studio.
And I had school, and school thing sucks, but I have to do it.
And man, we all support education. Please stay in school, kids. All
Stay
of
in
you.
school. Stay in school, and if you're not in school, then do the hustle. And
That's the weirdest thing to say to someone that should.
I I mean, yeah, just like for I mean, I have plenty of friends who are not in school, and but they're hustling. Like they got their own hustle, and they're
I
doing the
like. I feel
hustling.
like we're already getting way off topic out of nowhere, but sure.
I mean,
Uh,
yeah, just
yeah. So
anywho's.
we're here at our own home, safe, sound, warm from the cold rain that you might be hearing in the background.
Which, by the
From
way, if you do hear that, especially on my end, I live in an apartment complex, and the roof is literally right here. Like it's here. Like here's my room. Here's the roof. Pata! You'll just hear that occasionally.
oh
So
yeah, we'll
yeah, because
just
of Houston weather. Fucking
it's
Houston weather.
hey, I love Houston. What are you talking about? Yeah, sure, I'll get
bipolar,
it.
it's bipolar weather. That's what it is all the
Yeah,
time.
but but getting back to point, we're here to talk about Star Wars, specifically Mandalorian and Rise of Skywalker. Those two properties have been out now, so long enough where we can go into spoilers because a certain someone in this chat cannot keep quiet about spoilers, and I'll keep bringing it up because Kelvin's just trying to hide, but you know it's true.
In my defense, okay, just
Mm-hmm.
I get it. It was technically speaking at the 3 week point, but still they just killed off one of my favorite characters.
We'll
My
get to
par-
that, Kelvin. We'll get
we'll,
to
we'll,
that.
get,
I'll
we'll
let
get
you
to that.
rage.
Well, I'll rant. I'll rant on that aspect. But
Yeah,
in
and
Mandalorian, yeah,
yeah, Mandalorian, Rise of Skywalker. Also, I thought it'd be fun for us to talk about like why, because they've been out for a while now. Why one property feels more better than the other. But
yeah,
we're gonna start off with our own review of Mandalorian because I feel like that was aside from that being the first one to come out, it's probably the most interesting one. Would
yeah,
you, would you, yeah,
yeah, for sure, absolutely. Definite 10 out of 10. And this is, a first by Jon Favreau, who's directed this year. It's just a Star Wars series now. But Jon Favreau has always been well known just directing in general. He directed Iron Man. He directed Chef.
Elf. Don't forget Elf.
He directed Elf. Yeah, he directed Elf. He
I like how that always catches us off guard.
All right, like he directed those movies. He also um, was part of the Clone Wars series. He
Yeah.
voiced the Death Watch leader Pre Vizsla in season 2 and then onwards in the Clone Wars series. So, which by the way, he doesn't really do much voice acting, but I mean, I would say like if you listen to him and how he does his voice acting as a villain essentially in a Star Wars universe, he does a pretty fucking amazing job. I would say that just because, yeah, because he harnesses that evil, like not so much evil Mandalorian, because Mandalorian isn't really like, oh, it's they're not good, but they're not bad. That's just they're kind of straight in the middle, so to speak. So, but just in general though, um, let me do some adjustments here. Yeah.
Yeah, just yeah. Kevin's glasses were getting in the way. I have to slightly tell him that.
Well, I
Uh,
mean, like,
it
yeah, they
happened.
do that, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna, yeah, I'll try. I mean, because I think just mainly because I'm looking directly at the camera, so I'll try
Yeah.
to not, yeah, just try to
Yeah. But no,
adjust
it's
here and there.
fine, dude. I just wanted
Yeah,
to give you that message.
it's okay.
'Cause we want to
What
see
was I
your
saying?
beautiful eyes, Kelvin.
Anywho,
No, but you clearly love the show, dude, and I can
it's
tell that
so good.
from
Like
like even
it
like
was so good. Like
on
it's oof. Okay. Uh oh. Nuts. Okay. Ladies and gents, I do apologize, but I
hey.
think hello.
Yeah, we got you. We got you back. We got you back.
Okay.
This
All
is this
right.
is the issue with skyping sometimes.
So if you do see this sometimes, folks, this is literally the technology of Skype. Personally, I feel Skype is a little outdated. But it's a little outdated. It's a little outdated. Anyways,
No,
so
but as you were
good.
saying about
Mandalorian was good. John
about
Favreau, fantastic director. But although he directed, some of the episodes, but there were other directors that directed essentially the rest of the series. So essentially, Favreau only directed, I think, the first two, but then the rest of the series was like, I think, other directors, but they still did overall a fantastic job.
yeah, Joey's favorite director was in one of those episodes.
Which one was that?
The last episode.
Wait.
That was Taika.
Oh.
Yeah.
Taika Waititi, the director of Thor Ragnarok
I'm gonna
and
be
Jojo Rabbit.
I did not. I'm gonna be honest. Like I did not like. I wasn't paying attention to the end credits when I watched the final episode. I was just like, well, I'm done now. I gotta go do some other stuff.
Gotta go watch the next episode.
Yeah.
But
so
then you could, man. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, it was so good. God, episode 8, y'all. I have never laughed so much in my entire life for the first 5 minutes of an episode, just because the series
The
itself,
dialogue,
and no, it's not just the dialogue in the episode, but just the screenplay, the scenario is so like tense. All in all, like from the beginning to the end, it's so like it had its tense moment, it had its comedic moments, but then there's this super like consistent flow all the way through. But like, oh man, episode 8 threw a heck of a curveball, just because it's basically this, right? Two scout troopers specifically are on the speeder bikes. They get to the town, and they're like, "All right, wait for orders, cool," and they're just talking back and forth about
about something stupid.
About something real stupid, and it's like, "Oh, I want to see the baby." You're like, "No, you just want to touch it." I'm like, "No, I just want to see if it's okay." I'm like,
it's
like,
so real. It's like
it's
a conversation two friends would be having.
I feel like that's something like me and Eli would like.
Yeah.
It sounded like something that we would argue over, like we would argue or just have a conversation over in real life. It was just like. It was just so real and wholeheartedly, and even one of the scout troopers was like, you know what? Even one of the scout troopers was like, he was like saying, oh, Moff Gideon will do this if we keep questioning his order. He blasted a trooper just because he questioned his orders. I was like, what? Oh my gosh! And then that's not the best part. The best part of all is the shooting. Oh,
see, personally, I have an annoyance. So I had annoyance with that scene. I was like, we get it. They're bad shots. I don't know, Joey. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, but then like in general though, like I just love that shot overall because it just further emphasizes how much stormtroopers suck at shooting at point blank range. It's like pew pew.
So, Joey, you like to explain your side on that argument?
I don't know. It's I mean, I like the scene a lot. It's just like a very like comedic tone, and now that I realize that it was directed by Tag, actually makes sense. That whole like little segment of the whole shooting thing. Like, I mean, I don't know. I think they've made jokes about like the stormtrooper helmets being bad like multiple times. I think throughout the canon.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I don't know. It just reaffirms that, and like I don't know. I'm fine with it. Like it wasn't like that annoying to me, but like,
I'm
I can understand that.
I'm willing to agree, but for me, it was like, we get it, guys. Like the first time was funny. The next 3 times we're like, okay, we get it. Just let's move on, guys. Let's keep it.
But
like
then,
we're getting on that, right, Kelvin?
Yeah, for sure. But just the general direction plot of where Mandalorian is going into next fall actually. So fall of 2020 is when season 2 is supposed to drop, and I'm really like I think one of the other big moments in Mandalorian is now we know who the Mandalorian is. He actually has a name, and we know we essentially know his origin story. We know his name, and we know like what's next from here. It's obvious. Clearly, it's not the end because Moff Gideon is holding the dark saber.
Yes, the dark saber.
Like, if
One of
you
my
guys don't know
favorite-
what this is, this
Kelvin,
guy
go
is
for it.
such a legendary weapon. Basically, it was like to wrap up the entire origin story of the dark saber in like I guess in a minute. Basically, it was developed by the first Mandalorian, essentially the first Mandalorian,
Basically, the
Tarvis.
president.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. The first Mandalorian ever, Tar Vizsla, that's the first. He was the first and only Mandalorian to be. So a couple facts, real quick. First and
I
foremost,
like how you trying to say trying to like keep it simple, but like you're going in for the full explanation now.
I know, but I just cause I love the origin story of this weapon, of this beautiful
no,
weapon.
I do too. It's essentially like the Mandalorians and the Jedi's were always against each other.
Like for thousands
For
of years.
years, millennia, really.
Way before like the current Republic we know now, way before the Clone Wars started, like the old Republic. Like if you ever play Knights of the Old Republic, the Old Republic games in general, that's how far back essentially the beef between the Mandalorians and the Jedi Order has gone through. But essentially, again, to summarize the weapon in 1 minute,
I was gonna say it's Excalibur, really.
Essentially, to the Mandalorians, to the Mandalorians, it's their Excalibur, made and developed by Tar Vizsla, the first Mandalorian, the first and only Mandalorian inducted into the Jedi Order. Whenever he died, the Jedi Order pretty much kept it, and the Mandalorians were like, "Hey, that's not yours. It's ours. We're taking it back." So they broke into the Jedi Temple, took it back, and essentially, whichever of the Mandalorian clans claim it, whoever claims it first, they lead all the clans. So pretty much, if you have essentially, Excalibur, the sword to rule the land, essentially, in that aspect. But,
and so, Kelvin, let me ask you this: what was the thing about because you've been praising this so far, but I know you've had problems with it. You and I have talked before. Your first spoiler was about a problem that you had with this show.
And
talk about that. Don't go all nerd rage on me, but just explain to us in a calm manner.
I will simmer it down, but essentially, though, I suck for not remembering the character's name, but the actress, though, Ming-Na Wen, who is in episode 5 of The Mandalorian, essentially she was the target that both the Mandalorian and the other dude. I don't remember the other character's name.
I was like, you're looking at me like I know. I don't. Do you know, Joey?
No. I know he was just a random bounty hunter.
Right. I know it's essentially like the main characters, like you know who they are, but it's like the side characters. It's like they're in there 1 minute and then they're off the next, right? So essentially, the other bounty hunter, along with the Mandalorian, they go off to find the target, which is the Ming-Na Wen. And Ming-Na Wen's character is the target. They're supposed to capture her alive or dead, bring her back, yada yada, bounty hunter stuff, right? But they killed her off. I'm sorry.
Are you more upset that they killed her off, or are you more upset that she just did nothing?
It was basically like, oh yeah, she's one of the most feared bounty hunters to be hunted. Like if you're gonna they pretty much explained that, oh, if you're gonna hunt her, you're gonna be the hunted because she's the best of the best.
So the hype was not met.
It's not the hype of her character was not met with the expectations and the end results. And the way she went out was so fucking stupid. And but here's the thing though. I had my hopes slightly restored because there was another figure at the end of episode 5 that goes over to her body and drags her body. But that's all we know. That's all we know, because there are plenty of Star Wars characters who have been shot, have been stabbed, have been slashed by blasters, sabers, cuts, whatever. They look like they die, but then really, are they really dead? So that's the only slight faith.
Nah, I think she's dead. I think she's dead. You think she's dead?
I don't know. I mean, it's up in the air. I think it's open for interpretation.
Yeah.
I mean, again though, it's just the mysterious figure, which we don't know who it is. Like, and they.
I thought it was Gideon, dude.
I don't know. Like, I was gonna say it's Gideon, but it's like, what would Gideon do with, because Gideon is like essentially a high-ranking official in the Empire. So
Yeah.
what would Gideon be? What would Gideon be doing with?
Well, we can't just sit here and speculate all the time. Yeah. But Kelvin, is that all the complaints you have or criticisms you have for this thing?
Yeah, honestly, just the way they handled Ming-Na Wen's character, I honestly thought they could have done better, but just because I love Ming-Na. Yeah.
So you're fanboy showing is what you're saying.
Oh yeah, just because I love her, and yeah.
I mean, she's Mulan, so yeah.
I mean, fuck yeah.
Not in the remake.
Not in the remake. She's not Mulan in the movie, the live action one.
Okay.
Still over anyway.
All right, Eli, Joey, take it away. Your take on Mandalorian.
So Kelvin, you basically gave it a 5 out of 5, right?
Yeah, I mean 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, whatever you rank it, it's gonna be a perfect score for me because holy shit, that was so
Kelvin,
good.
I like the Star Wars world as much as you do. I don't hate this series. I actually really enjoyed it. I'm about to go in more into detail why I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And one of it is that I've always said this about Star Wars. I've always liked the world, and this show gives us the world.
Exactly.
In a way that the movies don't.
I agree with that. Yeah, I absolutely agree.
And one thing that for a lot of Star Wars fans that know the makings of Star Wars and a lot of the things that went into it, that George Lucas was very much inspired by samurai movies, cowboys, serial films like Flash Gordon. So seeing this, especially the way it started off in episode 1 for Mandalorian, it was very much a Western. Like this dude.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Dude, I swear, every time he walks, you hear the little chink, 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 like you would associate.
Yeah, the little spurs on cowboy boots. I'm like, yeah, exactly. I was actually just about to say the same thing because
music goes with that too. Especially the main theme, that it plays at the end of every episode. Exactly. That is such a spaghetti western song.
And then it's like that one track was like the
Dollars trilogies for the Clint Eastwood movies. So that's what I loved about it, especially with the first 3 episodes, because it was this sort of down in the dirt. These are the scum and hive of villainy and all that stuff that you would remember Obi-Wan saying. But then I started having problems with it.
All right.
So, and it goes with what you were saying earlier with Ming-Na Wen.
Yeah.
And for me, because it was because episode 3 we got into the whole village episode that felt very much like Seven Samurai. Then we got to the Ming-Na Wen character episode. And what was the episode after that?
It was
It wasn't the prison escape one. It was something else. What was it?
Hang on, let me look it up right now. I got my Disney Plus app, so they'll just give us a synopsis of the episodes here.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Because it was
episode 6 is they're trying to break out from there.
Episode what?
Episode 6, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Mandalorian the Mandalorian is part of a crew of mercenaries bringing a convict from a prison ship, and then that's where the Mandalorian gets betrayed by the crew. But haha, jokes on them. They all died.
So I guess it'd be So episode 4 and 5 were my big kind of
concerns.
Well, my big issue was with the show and is with those 2 episodes, they felt very rushed. You really wanted to do something, but you just kind of went real quick with it. Especially when they try to make us feel like a romance between the village chick and the Mandalorian. I was like, where is this coming from out of nowhere?
I okay, with the romance, I feel I don't know. That I didn't really see much. You said, it's no rush. Yeah.
There was no chemistry. It felt rushed.
I feel for for me in that particular episode, I felt like it was. I feel like it wasn't just much. There wasn't really much chemistry to begin with. I feel like it was just like more of like an
No, he just showed
appreciation.
up and he was like, "Hey, how's it going, ladies?" And then just one of them just falls over him. That's literally what just happened.
Eh, well, I mean,
Well, I'm not.
I can see, I can see,
It's
I can
not
see what
like.
you're saying. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I can
It
see what you're
just didn't
saying.
feel. It didn't feel like it felt like it broke the pace in those two episodes, and a little bit of the third episode, and a little bit of like the sixth episode kind of felt that way for me. Like it didn't feel like very consistent in tone,
Right.
because like there were times where like, oh man, Mandalorian, he's so like ruthless, and surprisingly enough, we didn't even mention Baby Yoda yet, but but like I know like Baby Yoda's everywhere now. But
Yep.
like I felt like there's a lot of break in tone. Like it's not as consistent. So for me, it kind of went off. Episode 6 is probably one of my favorite ones, but that's only because but I felt like there should have been a lot more impact. I guess like
With episode 1.
6. It's
6.
because he's fighting all these like these bad guys, like other like bounty hunters who are like real pieces of shit.
Yeah, they pretty much like yeah, like I had a feeling already like they weren't already gonna be the trustworthy crew, and then they would like backstab him like at the like after they.
Yeah,
Like,
you
I had a
saw, I mean,
feeling.
like, yeah,
I
saw it
knew it was
coming.
I knew it was coming. I don't know, but if you felt the same way, if you knew,
No,
oh yeah,
we
he was
all
getting.
saw it coming. We all
Yeah,
saw it coming.
yeah.
This is,
Yeah,
I
more
was like,
I mean, but that's what I liked about it. That's what I liked about like the show. It was like like Obi-Wan said, hive of scum and villainy. These are the bounty hunters. They're like they're not lowest of the low, but like they're willing to do some messed up shit to like get the job done. So I'm like,
yep,
I wouldn't be surprised if like they
just to get the job done, just for a quick coin. Yep.
Yeah, but it's just like you're going for that kind of feel, then I feel like those other guys that screwed him over shouldn't have stayed alive. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you crossed me, this is what you get, kind of stuff. That's me. That's maybe I'm a little bloodthirsty, but no, but the overall show was very enjoying. I loved how they incorporate like a lot of the lore into it, and you were interested.
Yeah.
And earlier I said that this show is very much like a Western. It's also very much like you ever heard of this? I don't know if it was an anime, but I know it was a manga. Lone Wolf and Cub.
No, I have not.
So it's a very like well-known like old manga where it's basically the samurai Ronin kind of guy, and he's just walking around with like a baby, and just doing like wow, that's an interesting freeze frame right there for you, Kevin. Yeah, but no, it's no, you just it froze with you mouth open, but it's very much it's like you see Mandalorian, this dude walking, this bounty hunter walking around with a baby. That's Lone Wolf and Cub, and it's very much that was very much inspired by that. But for me, it's a good show. I felt like there was like a weird break of pacing and like tone in the middle, but I would not deny that I would look forward to it. Also, I would say I did have a problem in the last episode. Like it was a huge problem. Kind of like with the when we're like you just hyped this character up for no reason, and then like it felt pointless. I felt that the reveal of Mandalorian's face was not needed.
You feel like that wasn't necessary?
No, because it's weird. I can only compare it to like game logic, where like characters like Doom Guy or Master Chief, were like you're not supposed to see their face because you're supposed to like feel like you're that guy.
Yeah.
And like for him, it was like I like the mystery of we couldn't see his face.
Yeah,
like I already knew who the actor was. Yeah, I was like, I like the idea of like we don't get to see his face.
Yeah, you just hear him. The whole like all in all, you just hear him, and even like
but more like it's just he's like he like you didn't have like anyone could be a Mandalorian. It doesn't matter if you were this or that.
Yeah.
And they that showing his face, I was like, you just kind of took away the mystery.
Also, I would agree with you on that, and it kind of defeats the purpose of like the initial Mandalorian code, which he reemphasized several times in the episode. He reemphasized, especially in episode 4 or 5, like whenever he's in the village. Yeah, 4. Whenever she's like, "Oh, take off your mask. Let me see what you look like. So, oh, I'm not supposed to. It's my code. Like once I put this on, I can never take this off. And it was like, and it's like, you never taken this off when you're 8? I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, just imagine that, like, you're an 8-year-old. Once the helmet goes on, you can never take it off. Like, you can
And
not
like, I would have been fine if you took the helmet off, but just not have shown us his face.
Yeah, it's like I would have been fine with, like, okay, that one scene where he actually does take his helmet off, but it was a cut scene. It's just showing
I wouldn't say cut scene, but
helmet.
like they cut his face off.
Yeah, they cut his face off. It's just his body, like, in the frame, his helmet, and then that's it. Like, leave it at that, and it should have been kept at that. But then, yeah, the last episode was like, I already know what he looks like. Like, I don't need to see what he looks like.
You know what's even funny? I've heard people say, like, well, how does he trim his mustache without looking at his face?
Oh my god.
But no,
He has a flamethrower. I don't know.
To end my take on this episode, season. This was a solid season. I want to see more. I want to know more about Baby Yoda.
I'm very excited for season 2.
Yeah, I want to see what's up with Gideon, Moff Gideon, and all this other stuff.
And the fate of the Darksaber. Oh, also, there's a lot of speculations. Like, people start saying, "Oh, he's a Mandalorian." I'm like, shut up. No, he's not. I mean, could be because it's a. I'm not gonna confirm that. I will neither confirm nor deny that theory. Just because in Star Wars Rebels, and now this is if you haven't watched Star Wars Rebels, and spoilers for this one because this series has been out altogether for a long ass time. Star Wars Rebels, there was in season 5, there were, Mandalore was, half was divided into half. The other half of Mandalore was like saying, oh, maintain Mandalore. The other half was like saying, oh,
that was more of Clone Wars than
no.
They went into it with more in Clone Wars. I remember this episode.
No. This was in Clone Wars. This is when Sabine went back to her family and she.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that they also touched that on. They touched that even more in Clone Wars with Sabine and not Sabine. What's her name? Obi-Wan's girlfriend or whatever.
Oh, Duchess Satine. Okay, let me correct you on that. Duchess Satine had nothing. She is a Mandalorian. Yes, she is from the planet Mandalore. Yes, but she for her, her ideals was pretty much straying away from the Mandalorian culture, which is violence.
That's my point and what I'm getting at, and we're kind of getting off topic at that point.
Yeah,
that essentially, it's these different factions, but it doesn't matter whether he has whether.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it doesn't matter whether or not he's Mandalorian. The fact is that he got something that means a lot to the Mandalorians.
To the Mandalorians, yeah.
Yeah. So essentially, but I'm saying to end off my point. For me, this entire season was solid. I'm not gonna give it a 5 out of 5 like you, Kelvin. I love storytelling. I love cinematography, but for me, Mandalorian's a solid 3.5 out of 5.
Okay.
It's close to a 4. Actually, I'll give it a 4. A 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
It's not perfect, but it's good. It's good. I've said it before. It's a Star Wars property like this shouldn't be as good as it should be. It had no right to be as good.
Yeah. It's where was this in the other Star Wars movies?
Let me school you, motherfuckers.
Well, no, it's more like I agree with all guys. I think it is a great show. I think when I first heard about them making a show about a Mandalorian bounty hunter, I'm like, this sounds cool, but I think this is good. This could go really bad. This has the chance of being not good, being okay, but it's but this is a great show, and I do agree there is a bit of a I think my only problem is that it's sort of weirdly paced throughout every episode, through the episodes. I think it's sort of I guess it's sort of it kind of didn't know whether it wanted to be sort of a serial format where it follows a cohesive plot from every episode, or if it wanted to be episodic where the Mandalorian is just doing different jobs every episode and encountering different things, and occasionally the plot will show up, which I think is fine, I guess, in terms of the idea, because the idea is still a Mandalorian bounty hunter, you know, and giving that old like Western like feel to the show. Sort of like, you know, just going around doing like these classic like Western things. And I think like I guess my only other criticism as well is probably just like yeah, it definitely borrows from the Western, but I think a bit too much.
How so?
Like obviously, I think we mentioned the village episode, which definitely feels like it feels like the Magnificent Seven. You know, it's a village of people who get raided by like, you know, bandits like every so often, and they hire the Mandalorian and the I forget her name, but she was the rebel shock trooper.
Cara Dune.
Yeah, Karen Dune, and she was I mean, I like the
Gina,
character.
Gina Carano, former MMA fighter.
Which I guess now that I know that, I guess it makes sense why she can kick ass.
Yep.
But yeah, no, like, you know, it's like Magnificent Seven, which is like, you know, which is like an adaptation of like Seven Samurai, which both feature that same plot of like villagers hiring cowboys to, you know, help them from bandits. Except instead of 7 cowboys, you get a Mandalorian and a rebel shock trooper.
And 2.
Yeah, you get like 2, and yeah, no, like it was sort of like this all seems familiar to me, which is not a bad thing. It's just sort of like I've seen this before, but it's now Star Wars, which I guess, to be fair, does make it kind of cool when it's like imagine like any random thing and then go like it's Star Wars though, and it's like actually that sounds pretty cool. So yeah, on the whole, for me, Mandalorian, great show. I am definitely excited for a second season, especially considering like all the stuff that's happened. And you know, I also, side note, favorite character was definitely the IG,
Oh yeah, the IG unit.
IG unit. You know, voiced by, you know, Taika Waititi, which is, you know,
Director of the 8th episode, which is probably why he gave him that emotional death scene.
you know, point is, you know,
Nice.
super funny character. But yeah, I like, for me, I guess in terms of rating, I would honestly go 4.5 out of 5.
Damn, I feel like I'm the only one who didn't like it.
No. Like, I like really enjoyed a lot of the episodes, and like this whole first season in general. I think it's really good. It definitely has problems, but you know, I feel like it can improve upon itself by like maybe adding more episodes than the standard 8, maybe like 2 more,
Yeah.
and you know, just sort of like sort of finely tune like whether like it wants to be episodic or serial. Like those are, I think that will probably like help out, whether like just focusing on whether it being an episodic sort of show where like it's, you know, different things every episode, or if it's going to be like a chronological serial narrative.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no,
So whether or
really
not there
enjoyed
be
it.
an overarching story, rather than just like I'm doing some random thing every episode.
And occasionally moving the plot along.
Yeah, I got
Yep.
you. What do you think on that, Kelvin?
I mean, with
You look lost right now.
no, I'm just kind of phasing in and out because I'm extremely tired right now. I'm like running on like very little sleep right now, so I'm trying to stay awake, especially because this is a Star Wars theme episode. I'm like the one time I get to go off on an episode that I have knowledge of, and I won't get shit on by Eli for once. I'm tired as shit for this. I hate myself. But moving
I mean, that's
forward,
why I always have a drink with me.
exactly. I need. I'm probably gonna get a drink later whenever like for a bit. Like I'm gonna go off for a bit and get a drink while like you guys talk about Rise of Skywalker on your part. But no. But moving along with Mandalorian, I'm very excited. Yeah, just like you guys, I'm very excited to see the direction that this show is taking, and that how the characters will develop even further now. Like the characters or the development of the characters from like beginning to end of season 1 were already great, already fantastic, had a great ending, but now like to carry that even further. And for series, you know, it could and for some series, like, Eli, you could probably agree with me on this. The momentum, you know, especially if you end on a really good note with one season and that carries over or not, that's just in the direction of like how the show would turn out. It will either be really good or it'll be really bad. So it just
Yeah,
depends.
if all that matters is they can keep up that momentum.
Exactly. So I know, I think one series I will say, I mean, not just like a series in general that had a really good beginning but a very meh like middle season was Arrow. Because I know it's not Star Wars, but Arrow was like season 1 was great, season 2 and 3 went and then 4 was like holy shit,
I mean,
yeah.
when you're basically copying off Batman, I don't expect much from you, really.
Exactly. So, but again though,
Jesus,
because
they
this is
copy off Batman.
yeah, but again though, because now this is just essentially an original Star Wars series, all in its own, like a live. I think the first live action series, right? If I'm not
It is the
mistaken.
first live action
Yeah,
series.
first live action.
Let's check.
The first live action Star Wars series? Yeah, I think so. Like every other
Property.
well, I mean, do we want to count the holiday special?
We're not counting that. No, Joey.
But they reference it in the show.
Oh,
They say
No.
the guy has to go to Life Day, the first episode.
No.
It's canon.
No.
Listen, all right.
No,
Listen,
Joey.
I get it.
Chewbacca has kids. He has
Even
a wife. He has a son. No. You know, you know what his son's name is? Fluffy.
Oh, he knows.
Yeah.
He knows.
Listen, I get it. George Lucas himself even hates it, but like
He said if he had the time and money, he would go find every copy and smash it with a sledgehammer.
But like for me though, but it's like, come on, George, you're gonna like change like the OT trilogy, but you're not gonna like do any special editions for the
Joey. Here's the other thing though. That wasn't even a series. It was a Christmas special.
But it was on TV though.
It was no, Joey. Special.
All right, fair enough.
Like, if SNL would have been Star Wars, and essentially this was like after the hype of like the original trilogy coming out in the 70s. Oh, let's go ahead and make a Christmas special because it's Christmas.
Yeah, it was after the first movie, and that was so.
The point is, Life Day's canon. Let's move on.
No, it's not. You take that back. It's not canon. You take that back.
No, I rewatched the first episode because that's the first thing I noticed when it happened. It's like, oh my god, they referenced it. Kevin's like, I will not. I refuse.
I refuse to acknowledge that Christmas tragedy.
Oh my god! But no, it's you're right. First, like the fact that it's the first like live action anything of Star Wars, which because let's face it, Star Wars itself has been dominated by like animated stuff, Clone Wars, the
Rebels.
other Rebels, the other Clone Wars TV show, Resistance,
Rebels. Which by the way, I've watched the first episode. Not a big fan. I was like I didn't catch on to it.
I think it's better as it goes along, but
it's better.
Yeah.
It's better. I can see why, like even the animation style. Like, okay, do you remember way back? It's like Iron Man Armored Adventures, but like it's like Iron Man as a teen. That's how I felt that animation style was.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was like that, but a little less like not as fluid.
Not as fluid, and then
it's trying to be too deep. It's like, no, you're 3D. Stop.
Yeah,
you're not Arc Systems. You're not that cool blend of the two.
And then like I feel like just that series that's more geared towards like the kids. It's meant because I mean heck like it has.
But even then, like, and Star Wars has always been aimed for kids. That it has some stuff for adults too.
That is true.
So like I said, but that's besides the point. Going back to Mandalorian, I feel like it's a great show. I think this is an interesting track record for it to set for the next live action shows, really, like Obi-Wan and whatever they have planned out there. But I'll say this: it was so popular that as soon as it was over, everyone canceled their subscription to Disney Plus.
Balls.
That's Like I still use it because like I'm rewatching a lot of Simpsons episodes because the Simpsons is
I'm
close to my heart.
reading it now also because I am starting to rewatch the Clone Wars series so that I can be prepared for Clone Wars season 7, which comes out on February 17th.
Will we do something about it? We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a wait and see moment for us, but I think is that all we have for Mandalorian, guys?
Yeah, I think so. I think we've wrapped
Yeah.
up Mandalorian.
All right, Kelvin. We're going into Rise of Skywalker. You want to get yourself a quick drink while me and Joy just talk shit behind your
Yeah,
back?
you guys started off. I will get some water, and also I'm feeling very fatigued. So take it away, boys.
Yeah. Just get yourself some water, bring it back so we can get back on it. But no, as Kelvin goes to get some water because he's a thirsty little boy. No, I'm not gonna go there. I'm sorry. But to go over what essentially happens in Rise of Skywalker, because we're at this point where Rise of Skywalker is done. You know, it's been what, like almost a month now.
Yeah, I think it came out the like Christmas weekend.
The week of Christmas. Yeah.
So we are definitely like about a month afterwards. So
yeah, so
all bets are off.
All bets are off. So you know, Rise of Skywalker is set a couple years after The Last Jedi, and essentially they're all trying to look for Palpatine.
Yeah, because it turns out that Palpatine is, back again because the dark side of the Force leads to many abilities that some might consider to be which is he actually says that in the movie. He verbatim repeats that line from Revenge of the Sith, to which I remember we were in the theater and I was like, oh my god, he said it. He said the meme. This is great.
And essentially it becomes a hopping around film where we all just go into like from one planet to another and all this stuff, and it's very weirdly paced.
Yeah, I can agree with that. It is definitely a sort of crazy. The first act is very sort of like rushed in terms of like we gotta go do this thing, we gotta go that way, we gotta go there, we gotta go this way.
And we're trying to be less street because like as soon as we go into this full disclosures when Killen comes back, because all right now I'm seeing is the flag of is that the flag of Vietnam? No, I'm not gonna go into it.
Yeah, you better to not say anything than to say something wrong.
Yeah, but no, it's a fun. I wouldn't even say it was fun for a little while, but then it wasn't. But I think I hear Kelvin. Kelvin, you're back. Thank God. You were just saying how great the movie was and how it's a 10 out of 10. No, I'm just kidding. But we just went over a quick synopsis of it.
Skywalker.
Yeah. So Kelvin, I feel like you were the one who recently just finished it a while back.
Yes.
You give us your thoughts as we go.
It was meh. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't fantastic. Mainly because I don't know. Like, okay, I will say this though.
We'll talk about it, dude.
Yeah,
We're all here to talk about it.
I will say this though. I honestly, like, okay, I'm kind of throwing my girlfriend under the bus here because we did like she did.
Kelvin, don't do that.
No.
Under the bus?
No. Here's the thing, no.
Kelvin, you can't throw a live person under a literal bus.
Oh, shut up. Okay. Son of a bitch. Okay. This is what I meant. So she told me that the showtime for because my girlfriend doesn't really understand Star Wars, so I try to explain to her the best I can, but she still wants to watch it with me to try to understand it, right? She says she booked the times at 9:30. And okay, I was like, okay, that's fine. We get there 9:15. And then the ticket was like saying, oh, you meant the showtime for 9 o'clock? And I just looked at her, I'm like, and she's like, don't be mad at me. I'm like, so essentially, I missed the first 15 minutes of the movie, of course.
Oh, so you missed the first? You want us to go over the first 15 minutes?
Is it where like basically Poe's team gets obliterated? That's what I'm getting at.
What do you have? Does that happen in the first 15 minutes? What do you mean by the Poe's team got obliterated?
Like, okay, so like by the time I walked in the theater and like finally sat down and started watching it, I was at the scene where Poe it looked like Poe had just finished the mission, but it went horribly wrong. Everybody on his team was obliterated except for maybe a few fighters, and then he was like blaming Rey, like, oh, you should have been up there, but you weren't. You should have been up there.
Oh, okay. So what happened was is that it was Finn. No one. His team didn't get played. Literally, it was just him, Finn, and some other.
It was like a random alien that was helping out.
Yeah, it was they're in the Millennium Falcon. They were flying around because they got intel from an alien that there's a spy in the Resistance.
Yeah.
Not the Resistance, in the First Order.
First Order, yeah.
And here's information about this and that. But essentially, there because like they really needed some help. Nothing really that bad, and nothing too much happened. All you know is that apparently the alien they got the info from was voiced by Mark Hamill.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that.
Only to get his head cut off.
Oh well, shit.
Yeah, you saw the head on the table. That was Mark Hamill's character.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
I was wondering. I just saw like a big giant alien head, and it just went splat like on the table. I'm like, what the?
Yeah, they
Who
killed
is
Mark
that?
Hamill twice.
Oh, that's
Jesus
fucked up. That's fucked up. That's some
Yeah.
fucked up shit. All right. Anyways. All right. Cool.
No,
so
no, as
it
you were saying,
it was basically an alien who got his head chopped off, and then like that's when the first one just went bam. Here's your spy.
Yeah, but no. Give us your thoughts on the film.
Yeah. Very meh. But I will say better than the Last Jedi. I will say that. Much
Really?
better than The Last Jedi. Mainly
How
just
so?
because I would say just because this one dives further into kind of like, Rey essentially finally finding herself as a Jedi, but just not just like saying, those fan theories people have been like surfacing around whenever Force Awakens first came out, like, oh, is she the daughter of Obi-Wan? Is she the daughter of Luke? Is she the daughter of blah blah blah? It's now essentially diving into the whole like Rey really, really finding herself as an individual, and like, yeah, she's meant to be a Jedi, but then like, who is she really? And then it kind of, and especially my favorite scene, for sure, was the redemption, so to speak, of Kylo Ren now coming back as Ben Solo, and that's the redemption scene, and also the whenever Rey essentially got like knocked out temporarily by like Palpatine, and you can hear like the past Jedi, like their voices in the back, like and it's everybody, like I mean like from past, present, future. It's you can hear Luke, you can hear Yoda, you can hear Obi-Wan, young and old. You can hear Mace, Skywalker before he became Vader.
Ahsoka.
Ahsoka,
The
Kanan
one
Jarrus,
dude from Rebels.
Kanan Jarrus.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kanan Jarrus. Like literally everybody. Everybody can hear it, and then that was really cool. And then, okay, yes or no, Eli? Tell me yes or no. Did you get a very Avengers Endgame like moment in like?
Oh, when the ships all came in?
No. Okay, so whenever like Palpatine how like Palpatine has like the power to like to suck out all the abilities and it becomes like more powerful again, kind of deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it was that whenever whenever it was he uses Force Lightning and Rey uses both lightsabers of Leia and Luke's to deflect it, and then right as he's doing that, he says, "I am all Sith," and then Rey was like, "I am all Jedi." I'm like, really? This is like a. I don't know if you got an Avengers Endgame like moment in that part. It's like, I am inevitable. I am Iron Man. I'm like.
Well, for one, that one was ad-libbed because there wasn't even originally in the script.
That's what I
threw it in there for
figured.
punch.
I am all Sith. I am all Jedi.
Oh no, I'm talking about the Endgame one.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I don't know if you saw that. You
No,
sensed that.
I had a different reaction to it. But these are your thoughts, Kelvin. I'll let you take them before I say my thoughts.
All right. Well, I will say, like, I thought it was cool. Like the quote says, I am all Jedi. But at the same time, it's like it kind of, flashback. Like it kind of like I definitely linked it up to the whole like, oh, I am inevitable and I am Iron Man from Endgame. So it was like it was cool at a moment, but then it's like, I already experienced that like kind of dialogue exchange between the ultimate villain and the ultimate hero. That's my take. Oh, a couple of Easter eggs though. I will say this: both ships in like whenever all the ships are flying in, both the Mandalorian ship and the Ghost ship are in the movie, but we don't know.
Really?
I don't know if you saw it. Yeah. So this is the scene cuts really like it's super fast, but it's basically
So
like all the
it's kind of like how the ghost ship was in Rogue One.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, no. Well, I don't know with Rogue One though, because here's the thing with Rogue One.
No, they
Yeah,
confirmed it.
oh, yeah, that little B wing. The B wing from Rogue One was in there. But then the Ghost, essentially from Star Wars Rebels, was also in there as well. Even when returning to base, you can see the Ghost like landing on Dantooine, back on
Yeah, I
Dantooine
know.
again. Yeah. So we kind of know in a sense that okay, because Hera, let's see, Ezra is like we don't know what happened to Ezra because he just
Well,
went.
we're going into Rebels and not we're not
Sorry.
doing that. We're saying into Skywalker.
But we know for sure. Hera Syndulla is she's the captain of the
Well,
Phantom ship.
go back to Rise of Skywalker, dude. We're not talking about Rebels.
Oh, so yeah, I thought that was a pretty cool thing. It was the was it the Phantom from Rebels and the Mandalorian ship was also in there as well. But it was like a very quick moment. So I thought it was pretty cool. So again, I liked the like I like the homages that it paid tribute to, and with the Jedi voice, the previous Jedi voices you hear, the ships you get to see again in the movie, and like the kind of like whenever they're charging on like basically giant versions of alpacas, um, onto like the
Yeah.
flagship.
Do you have any other any other criticisms? Do you have any other criticisms about the movie or any positives?
I mean, it. Oh, one last thing. They pretty man, they pretty much took like Rose Tico and then like bye bye. Like
Oh, dude. We
barely
were
had any,
talking about this when we left
she barely
the
had
theater.
any screen time. I'm like, yo, like she had screen time on base and like interacting with Finn. That's it. Like that's all the screen time she got. And then maybe towards the end when you see her once again, like after they completed the mission, and that's it. And a like I think there was like a news article saying like there's like an LGBTQ scene like in there where it's two females like kissing after like
Oh
seeing each
yeah, no,
other.
I saw that scene. It
Yeah,
was
I mean
like
it was a very sweet moment. Don't get me wrong, it was a very
I'm
sweet
just like,
moment.
who are these two?
Like why like camera views into characters. I'm like, who is this? Who is that? Who is that? Who is that? Who is that? It's like, we don't know who they are. And it's like, so which is why, like, I like the moments in the movie, but like, oh, and lastly, before you guys go into it, the kind of the vision scene that Kylo Ren had with his dad, that's about it.
Oh yeah, that scene was
With,
that
with his
actually
dad,
was
with his dad Han Solo. So, and then that famous like, I'm scared, Dad. I know. And there's actually a meme. I don't know if you saw it, but it's like, I love you. I know. I'm scared, Dad. I know. It's like it's just he saying I know the whole
just
time.
referring to how much Harrison Ford does not like the Star Wars
Yeah.
stuff. Because
I
people
know.
are surprised to find that out that he doesn't like Star Wars apparently.
I wouldn't be surprised because like he was like as like I remember there was an interview that Jimmy Fallon did with Harrison Ford, and they talked about it whenever they finally killed him off. And he literally said, "Oh, I'm so glad I'm done with it," because he was relieved that he was done with.
Oh yeah.
He was
And,
so
like some
relieved.
people, like literally when I talked to Joey, I remember I told you this.
Yeah.
When they said they're bringing back for Force Awakens, he's gonna die.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure like he has always been adamant, I think, about like if he ever comes back for any like Star Wars thing, he's going to be like certain that he's dead. Like he's like Like I'm pretty sure. Like I think that was like the one condition uh for him to come back for Force Awakens was that like,
Harrison
listen,
Ford.
I gotta die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Kelvin, is that all you have, or are you gonna give us your or you have more before you give us your rating?
So that was pretty much it. So overall, like to wrap everything up, I like the homages. I like the soft, tender moments. I like the okay, one last thing. I mean, come on, the evil okay, so the evil Ray, I get it. Like I honestly thought it was going to be a clone, but it was just a vision, and then
Oh, I knew it was gonna be it's either gonna be a clone or a vision.
yeah, I had thoughts of it too, and then the fact that when she was like ha, and I'm like the evil like the teeth. That was unnecessary. I'm sorry. Like I know she was supposed to be like the evil version of Ray, but it's like, and then that lightsaber was
I mean,
so.
it fits for. I felt like it felt for a bit. It fit for a vision. Like if you're
I
having a vision of your
guess.
dark self,
Is
it's
it?
like Bilbo Baggins in Lord of the Rings, for Fellowship of the Ring, where he gave Frodo the little ring, and he was like kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
felt it was like that.
Okay, and
But,
one last thing, Ray's like I guess the evil Ray's lightsaber. That I'm sorry. Okay, here's the saber. Zoop! What the? Oh, that's so.
the switch, the switchblade.
How like, it was
Kelvin,
basically
you're
a
breaking up.
giant switchblade, and I'm like, okay, that was like I wasn't impressed. Like I saw it in the trailer and I saw it in the movie. I'm like, I wasn't impressed. I'm like, okay, cool. It's just a giant
No, I don't
switchblade.
think you're supposed to be impressed. I think it's just supposed to be a vision.
Meow.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's not supposed to be. Think it's a vision. It's not. It's not a real lightsaber.
I know
Thank
this is
God.
the vision, but it's just like, oh my gosh. Okay, but
I mean, it doesn't really matter if it was real or if it was an actual lightsaber, because let's
yeah,
face it, the staff lightsaber doesn't work like it would like a staff.
yeah, like a staff lightsaber compared to like a double bladed saber, completely different on its own. But again, with
Aside
all of
from that, yeah,
yeah, all of that wrapped up. I like the homages, the tender moments, like the tribute, the pay due diligence tributes too. I enjoyed that, but 7.5 out of 10. So it wasn't great. It wasn't fantastic. It wasn't a great, awesome movie, but it wasn't a terrible movie either. Right, straight in the middle. Man, 7 out of 5, 7.5 out of 5, and that's me being nice for a Star Wars film. Yeah.
Oh, can I go now?
Yeah. That's what. Yeah, I was kidding.
You are being a lot more forgiving than I am about to be.
Well, okay. Well, I know
here's the
you're about
thing.
to go like ham, also, but like controlled ham.
No, it's like for me, this is the most underwhelming movie I've seen in my not in my entire life. I feel like there's other more underwhelming ones, but for me, this it's meh as a standalone. It's meh. It is disappointing as the end to the Skywalker saga. For
Yeah,
me,
absolutely.
like for me, there are so many more problems that I have. Here's the thing: you're saying that this is better than Last Jedi. I like Last Jedi more than this.
Really? Okay, I want to hear this.
So here's the thing: I have a lot of problems with Last Jedi, but for me, like they had an idea, they had a of this is what we want to, this is where I want to take this character,
Yeah.
and this is what I want to do. I like the idea that Rey was not related to a Kenobi, to a Skywalker, to a
Yeah.
Palpatine. It for me that made sense because like that brought in this sort of like idea that that you don't have to be part of this group of people.
Yeah.
You yourself can be a great force user. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But you coming in and like saying that she's a Palpatine kind of ruins that idea.
Oh yeah, I was just about to say that. I'm like, huh? What?
Yeah, no, it came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I was like, what the?
I'll let you handle that when that comes around, because you said something earlier that made sense to me. For me, this film is. You're saying like I like all these stuff. Yeah, I like them too, but they meant nothing to me.
Yeah,
I did not feel anything really, and that's the sad part. Because for me, Star Wars is specifically when it comes to the movies, they're gonna be like these fun movies that tend to have a lot of deep moments, but this didn't have it for me.
Yeah.
I didn't like how they kept trying to like trick you and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
oh, Chewie's dead. He's not dead. Oh,
he wasn't dead.
no, like you're making fun of it. I had problems with that. It annoyed me.
Yeah.
And literally the reveal, like I'm saying, like the reveal of her being a Palpatine bothered the shit out of me. Like,
yeah, that like
what was my reaction to it?
I think when we were in the theater, you were just like, oh, please no. You were just like, you like whispered like,
I was like, please no, no.
And like here's the thing, for me, Last Jedi had so much potential. I know a lot of people tend to like shit on it for different reasons, and most of those reasons have valid points. But for me, it try to tell a new story. Rise of Skywalker it's kind of like a retread. Like I feel like Palpatine wasn't needed. A lot of stuff wasn't needed. I was kind of annoyed at how they treated Rose because like I felt like you could have
exactly. Oh my goodness, yeah.
Like that's aside from a lot of other stuff. I feel like you could have like she's not a terrible actress. I feel like you could have done something with that. But for me, it felt. I'm gonna use a term a line that every reviewer has been using for this film.
Yeah.
It's 2 movies in one.
Yeah.
Like there's no fluidity. Everything just sort of goes on as it.
Like here's 2 movies, and it's just like, eh.
No, it's not like that. It's more like, let me give you this, and then let me give you this, and then just here kind of stuff. It's not like
my God.
it doesn't even go well together.
It was very choppy almost.
No, even worse than that.
It was worse than choppy.
For me, it was worse than that in terms of storytelling. Like,
I agree.
I feel like how you're saying you're agreeing, though you're like, I'm still being nice to it.
Well, no, I mean, okay, like I said, I'm being nice to it in a sense to relate. Okay, like just because, to respect the legacy, that's one thing, but it's like to now like kind of take that legacy and kind of go like this and just like kind of just smear it, but like,
see, for me,
not all together, though.
No, for me the thing is like I'll go into this later, but like as itself as something that's supposed to like end all because they continuously sold it all. This is gonna be the end of the saga, and I'm like, why do we have to make it a saga? Why is this important to everything else? Why do you have to make this sort of the big thing? It doesn't have to be a big thing; it can be a small story. But like for me, the story in of itself was not good. You're talking about how much you like the whole scene with all the different Jedis talking to him.
Talking to Rey, yeah, I only like that scene just because it's like, it's it's my only reason why I like that particular scene is because it's like for me, right? Just for me, I feel like it encompasses kind of like the main ideals behind the Jedi. How they say, it's the will of the Force, and those who have passed on, they become part of the living Force, and essentially that's what all the Jedi before Rey have gone into.
I'm not disagreeing with that statement.
That's my only reason.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah,
I'm agreeing with you. The thing is, it didn't feel earned.
Yeah.
Like none of this felt earned. None of like the ending with like Rey, at the end just calling himself Rey Skywalker. I'm like, no, why?
You're not Skywalker. You're not a Skywalker. Just because.
Well, it's not even that. If you just chose to name yourself Skywalker, that I would have been fine if it felt earned. But there's no like.
So you felt like it was just like placed there. She didn't really.
No. It's even worse than that, really.
Yeah.
It's that Rey's character arc was thrown out the window.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Like for me, Rey was the first two movies, Last Jedi, Force Awakens. Force Awakens. She's like this wide-eyed youth who becomes part of this bigger journey. She's out looking for something, for a new meaning in life. And Last Jedi, she finds that new meaning only for it to be like, yeah, it's you're not gonna get what you want. Because like, let's face it, the whole second movie was like she wants to be part of this big world, but in reality she's a nobody, and that's fine that you're a nobody. You're fine. You don't have to go through it.
Yeah.
Skywalker, you're a Palpatine. What the fuck?
Yeah.
That's always been my like feel like I'm raging right now. I'm not trying to. Am I raging?
I don't know. You look a little unhinged.
I look a little unhinged.
You look a little enhanced.
Yeah, but I'm not trying to be that at the same time. Because for me, like, everything about it didn't feel right.
And
Like Poe and like Finn's characters were just like Poe is okay, but he's just been kind of meandering in there. He just has no reason. You keep repeating the same storyline with Finn, and
essentially, yeah. And then like I like how eventually, like that group of I don't know what it's like that group. It's like that group with the alpacas. I don't know what's that group called, but it's
the guys that abandoned the First Order.
Yeah, it was like, oh, there are others like Finn. I'm like, so you're basically making like, oh, here's one, and oh wait, you abandoned the First Order too. Oh, me too. It's like, huh? It's like
no, that's not my problem with it.
No. That was like I was just like It wasn't a problem to me. I was just confused. It's like, why would that be anything significant? I mean, I get it. It's
no. It's like it's significant because like it means that he's part of a.
He's not the only one. He's not the only one.
My thing with that, my thing with that is my thing with that deal or something like that specific thing. My thing, this should have been a thing way before.
Yeah.
Like, say at least episode like last hour. Because like the thing is, they're setting up a lot of other stuff that I feel like that is rushed and that is like done in a horrible way. And like your favorite, that scene you talked about with like Rey saying, "I'm all the Jedi." That's another thing I didn't feel like. For me, this film just did not feel like it earned the title. Not of Star Wars. It felt like it didn't earn to be the end of the saga.
Yeah.
Whereas say something like Endgame felt like it was the end of a saga.
Yeah.
Like, it felt right for it to end there. Mm-hmm. For me, like Rise of Skywalker is a very meh as a film itself by itself. It's meh as a something part of this overarching story that they try to sell us is just very disappointing.
Yeah.
Let me tell you this: when Rey just did the dual lightsaber thing, I think we both just groaned at each other. Like we were just like, right?
Yeah, vaguely. Yeah, I vaguely remember
this. Because I know I'm sound like I'm gonna give it a worse rating than I am.
Yeah.
I'm not, because there's still aspects about it that I thoroughly liked. I like the cinematography for the most part. I like I like how they try to like fit in more of the lore of the Jedi, even though it too felt very rushed.
Yeah.
Like you didn't. So let's just say right now, force healing, the way they explained it was kind of crap. Even though it's an established thing.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. Because, like, it's almost like, because force healing, for those for those who don't know force healing, or a concept behind force healing, it's not just as simple as, oh, wave your hand over, oh, the wound is magically like just slowly heals. Like, no, it's a lot more complicated than what people expect it to be.
They didn't explain
what's it called? Not terminology, but what the concept of force healing is. Because force healing is, it's almost kind of like it's temporary. It's not permanent. But in this case,
it's permanent. If you go by some of the, it's permanent.
Yeah,
like
it's permanent. But the way it's interpreted in this movie, yeah, it's just
like for me, like you're saying, that's your problem with interpretation. For me, it's like, you just kind of like, it came out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. It wasn't really set up well, and half the time it felt like it was a Deus Ex Machina, especially towards the end.
Yes.
Because
yeah,
because that was my whole thing. Honestly, for me, all these, like, to say some good stuff, like I said, cinematography, the use of the Force, the idea that the Force is all this, everything around us, and all that stuff. I feel like last year I did it better. Kylo Ren's arc is still probably the thing that I liked most about all these films. Because
Yeah, out of
the joke
yeah.
literally is he died carrying the weight of these movies.
Yeah.
Because like he's the only consistently good character in this whole series. Like I really like the scene with Han. That felt very natural.
That
Very
felt real. Yeah, it
felt
felt real
real.
to me.
Yeah. From like I'm in like the whole thing that happens later on is just like okay. Honestly, I feel like for me, um, you're doing some weird stuff with your hands there, but I'm just gonna ignore them. But aside from that, for me, it's like I feel like this movie would have been a little bit better if Ray died.
Yeah, which I was expecting. I'm like, oh shit, she's dead, and then all of a sudden, Force heal, she's alive, they kiss, and then poof, there goes Ben. I'm like, huh? I was like,
Yeah, you wouldn't understand that if you weren't into Star Wars logic.
yeah, yeah. I mean, even okay, so even if you weren't even into the Star Wars lore or you weren't into like Star Wars, but it's just like like someone comes back, like someone goes back because Ben at this point he's Ben Solo again. He uses Force healing. Ray comes back. They kiss, and then Ben lays down, and like you said, he dies with the franchise. And then you can just
See,
see
here's the thing.
Ben's
I wouldn't say the franchise is dead, but that's a totally different discussion we'll have later
yeah,
on.
but
For
I
me,
mean
like it's just for
that
me,
ending was just yeah.
for me, it's just none of this felt earned. None of this felt like right.
Yeah.
As and Joy has set it up perfectly where I'm gonna give it to him in a minute.
Yeah.
But as a if I'm gonna give my rating, I would give it a despite all the stuff I've said, I'll probably give it a 6.
Okay. That's actually like it's lower than mine, but it's still like that's still a fair rating, despite like,
I
all
would
the
say it's a little more better because a 6 out of 10 is basically a 60.
yeah.
So it's like
It's a passing grade, just but barely.
passing. What school did you go to? 60 was failing in my school.
We're in college, so 60's passing.
I mean, at the end of the day, 60. That's not a good. That's not a good
It's
place to
not a
be.
good rating, yeah.
It's not a good rating.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give it to Joey. Joey, you handle this. I'm not trying. I'm not mad. I may seem that I'm mad, but it's more like I feel like I needed to do my little little thing to emphasize how bothered me, and especially to counter the Cohen's little happiness there. Yeah, Joey, take it away.
All right. So for me, I don't know, because I think when I went into this movie, I was hearing all sort of like people being like, it's worse than The Last Jedi, it's a bad movie, it's whatever. And honestly, I went with like sort of an open mind, and I can kind of like understand a lot of the criticism. You talk about being underwhelmed. I was just whelmed, if that's a word. I
No,
was like, well,
that is actually a word, and it's actually been used. Justice. But aside from that, no, whelmed is just like you're not overwhelmed, you're not underwhelmed.
We know, Kevin. We know.
Yeah,
we
you're
know.
just
We don't have to
whelmed.
go into an explanation. This is not
But-
Kevin's show.
yeah, but it's it was. I mean, like I don't. It's very kind of like weird to me. Like I don't like hate this movie, but I don't love it either. It's sort of it's a very mixed bag. There's some good things in it. There's some very like questionable things in it. I agree with you with the whole Ray being a Palpatine is not like a very like strong idea. Like I liked it better that she was just like a nobody, because I think that was sort of like I feel like that was like, going to be like the big theme of like these new trilogy movies, was that like, hey, you don't need to be like a Skywalker or any other person to be like a cool Jedi. Like you can come from anywhere and have force powers, which is kind of why like I feel like the last movie, the Last Jedi, had that scene with the with the with the kid.
Yeah.
Having like
I love.
having like some force ability. I think that was like the hit home. Anyone can get any, like the force doesn't like picks it, and like it's not like a all knowing thing that just picks various like important people to be like have like the Force or whatever. Like it's just random and like it just picks people just because it can. But you know that's besides the point. Like yeah, there's just like a lot of things like Hux, the First Order commander being like, I'm helping you guys because I just want Kylo Ren to lose. It's like, dude, like you're like a space Nazi though. If Kylo Ren loses, your space Nazis lose though.
Yeah.
And also the reveal that he was the spy. It was just like, I'm the spy. I'm like,
Pew. I'm like,
not even that. Well, that too, the way he died. But like, that just.
I'm sorry. That was just so abrupt. And it like I just like one scene was like, pew. We found the spy. I'm like, yeah. After you shoot him, like the fuck.
Well, that's what you do with the spy. Kelvin.
Yeah, I know, but but it's just like a very like. I'm sorry.
No, it's like for me, it's
like that. Like you said, it's that very cheesy, corny. Like
I never said it was cheesy. You're the one saying it's cheesy.
No. I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that was a very cheesy moment.
That's what like, what are you talking about, dude?
No, sorry. I'm saying that was a very cheesy moment. Pew, we found the rebel spy. I'm like.
Well, no. Here's the thing. Like, I don't know. You said you're gonna say the problem with it.
No. It's just sort of like I don't get it. Like throughout the other two movies, like yeah, he clearly doesn't like Kylo Ren, but like I feel like he would be more like trying to vie control from him, like try start like a coup against Kylo Ren, not like betray him to the Resistance and like potentially have his First Order get obliterated by the Resistance. But whatever. I think sort of like the main takeaway I've taken from like this movie and like this whole sequel trilogy in general is that like it feels like they're sort of like responding to like each movie in the sequel trilogy is like a response to how people feel about the previous Star Wars movies. Like The Force Awakens, I mean I still like it, I still enjoy it. But like a lot of people's criticism for that movie is just that, oh, it's too much like A New Hope. It's just a remake or whatever. But it's like, yeah, but like people wanted that kind of thing.
It was supposed to be, yeah. Like it was.
Yeah, like it was like people wanted that kind of thing because of like people hated the prequels, and it's like it's not. They're being like these prequel movies aren't like the OT. This is bullshit. I hate it. So Disney was like, all right, let's give the people what they want. Let's give them something that reminds them of the old trilogy, and then people are like, we're happy for it for about like the first 6 months, and they're like, hey, wait a minute, this is like A New Hope. I thought this was gonna be different, and it's like, okay, so I assume like that's kind of half the reason, like a small reason why they let Rian Johnson do what he did with The Last Jedi, do all these sort of subvert your expectations kind of thing, and do new different things, and and people were like, you did too many things different. You ruined my childhood. You destroyed Star Wars, Rian Johnson. You murdered it in its sleep, Rian Johnson. And it's like, but you wanted it to be different, though, fans. You wanted it to be new and different. So now with the Rise of Skywalker, J.J. Abrams has to come back and be like, okay, you want us to like retcon some of the stuff from Last Jedi? You didn't like that Rey was a nobody? Fine, she's a Palpatine now. You didn't like Rose Tico? Fine, she doesn't have anything to do with this movie. You didn't like the Holdo maneuver? Fine, we'll mention it being very improbable that it could be done again.
Oh my god.
So I don't know. That's what I feel like these movies are like, which I don't like that kind of thing. It's kind of like what happened with the DC movies. Like Man of Steel was like a response to Superman Returns, being like, Superman Returns was too boring. There wasn't enough action. And it's like, okay, let's get Zack Snyder to make action. And it's like, there was too much action. There was so much collateral damage. And then, like, Batman v Superman was like taking a critique of like Superman being like, you've done too much collateral damage, Superman. Batman, will stop you. And then it's like, this movie's bad. This is terrible. It's too dark. So then Justice League comes around where it's like trying to be like a Marvel movie. And it's like, you're too much like a Marvel movie. I hate it. The point, like, I guess my point is just that, like, it's like I feel like it is definitely sort of like there wasn't a plan for these movies.
Oh no, I think that was just like obvious to everyone.
Like, granted, I think like the prequels also didn't have like a big like detailed plan, but they had sort of like a function, which was to show the downfall of Anakin and him becoming Darth Vader. The sequel trilogy, I feel like it wanted to, like, the message wanted to be that anyone can become a Jedi, anyone can become Force sensitive, which is why Rey was, I feel like, initially supposed to be like a nobody, because it's like, yeah, sure, Kylo Ren is a Skywalker, or it comes from a Skywalker, but like Rey can kick his ass because like the Force, deemed her worthy enough to do so, and she's just a literal nobody. But then it turns out, oh wait, never mind, she's just a Palpatine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say this on a side note. I've never.
You never
I've
thought
never.
that?
No. I never thought of it that way. With the analogy, essentially, like Joey, paired all of that together. A and B. I have never seen Joey go off like this. Like
Well-
Joey's used to the calm one. It's me and Eli that goes off on these things, and Joey's using the calm one. But I've never seen him go off like this, and it is great,
Oh,
by
I
the
see
way,
it
to
go
see.
off. This is not going off.
Well, yeah, it's more like it's just something that I've noticed. And this doesn't come from a place of anger. It comes from a place of like,
Criticism.
yeah, criticism. Like,
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I still
Yeah.
like, at the end of the day, like, this movie is fine. Like,
Yeah.
like honestly, my rating for it is like a 6.5. Like, it's like, honestly, if they had just like kept like Rey being just a
Rey.
nobody.
Yeah, just Ray.
Like, I feel like if they kept that like momentum going, like, I wouldn't have been as bothered with the whole like Palpatine comes back or whatever, or various other things. Like, it's like that one thing that just sort of ruins like the whole like connective, like, I guess, theme of these sequel trilogies that I think they wanted to do, because I feel like that's kind of like what they wanted to do. Like, they didn't want to like just solely focus on the Skywalkers anymore for future movies. They wanted like different characters and stuff. But it's at the end of the day, I think they needed just like they just needed
You
like
good there?
Yeah,
This-
my stand dropped. Just kidding.
It's in your stomach.
I'm good.
all right.
All right.
But no, it's like at the end of the day, they just needed to like follow through with that connective theme of like, hey, you can be a Jedi. Anybody can be a Jedi and get Force powers, just like Rey here. But you don't have to be somebody important. Oh wait, never mind. Rey's a Palpatine. She's very important. She's like the most important person in the universe now. And
Yeah.
and also and to wrap it up, I was honestly fine with the whole Skywalker thing at the end, with Rey being like talking to that old lady and being
That
like,
random old lady out of nowhere.
yeah, the random old lady, and just going like, "What's your name?" It's like, "I'm Rey." Rey who? And then she looks into the distance. You see Force Luke and Force Leia.
Yeah, you see the twin sons, Skywalker. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Like,
I see so like looks off into the distance with BB-8 like
Yeah,
right there,
yeah.
and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And then that scene whenever she finally decides to bury the like Luke and Leia's lightsaber into the sands of
Anakin's lightsaber.
Anakin's. No, there was this. Okay, I'm sorry. There's this meme where Anakin's like, "Okay, cool. It's Rey's got my lightsaber," and then it's like, and then he's saying, "Wait, what's she doing? What is she doing?" And then you get to see Rey just. You see the Force.
Yeah, we're gonna bury everything.
We're gonna bury
in the
everything,
home
and then
that-
and
and
it's like,
Yeah.
and there's this other meme where it's like all the like the faces of Anakin's going just like one's going like this, and one's going. It's just the
I'm
different.
listening to this right now. You acting out the meme is not as funny as the actual meme.
No, but it's just the meme. Like if y'all
Like,
look it
like
up,
just
though,
send just send it to us. I guess.
alright, it's just, yeah,
No, it's weird. I don't have a coworker who had a problem with that, with burying him in Tatooine, because like, yeah, let's bury those. Let's give a funeral, like what is it, like a tombstone, whatever
Yeah.
thing for Luke and Leia. Well, a place that Leia has no significant connection to, but like the place where there was nothing but death and despair for Anakin and Luke, because that's where his mom died. That's
Damn.
where his Uncle Owen and Peru died.
Well,
So it's that's
well,
like-
technically speaking, she died on not on Mustafar. Well, technically she did, but officially she died on.
What are you talking about?
Wait, who are you talking about?
I'm talking about Aunt Beru, Uncle Owen, and
Uncle
Anakin's mom.
Owen, Aunt Beru, and who else?
Anakin's mom.
Who?
Anakin's mom.
Oh yeah, Shmi. Yeah.
Let's
Okay.
leave the Skywalker at the place that ruined a lot of people. A lot of their has like a bad memories for every one of them.
Yeah, but Anakin won that pod race though on Tatooine. That was pretty sick.
And he killed every one of those. What was it the Sand People?
The Tusken Raiders.
Yeah, he killed every one of them.
Well, I'm pretty sure that was a good memory from him too. That was a nice revenge plot.
Who did he kill?
He killed not just the men but the women and children. Listen, all right? The prequels are secretly good. That's what the internet tells me.
No.
That's what the internet tells me.
No.
We're actually about to get it. We're actually about to get into that in a moment where we actually compare which do we like better, the prequels or the trilogy. Like, but Joey, do you have anything else you want to add for?
No. I think I wasn't as bothered with the whole Rey Skywalker thing because the movie is called The Rise of Skywalker. So I was more or less just waiting for like the whole like. So when is the Skywalker going to rise? What's the moment? And then it's like at the end, it's like, I'm Rey Skywalker, and it's like, okay, I get it. She's disowning the name Palpatine and all the negative weight it carries on for her, and like choosing to be her own person and take the name of Skywalker, the only mentor parental figure she's ever had, even though we never actually seen them like connect that well. But point is,
I mean, I feel like it would have been better if, like, this is going back to my feeling that I feel like Rey should have died. Like, how great would it have been, like, for the Rise Skywalker to be Ben to rise, and like, not, I wouldn't say start off the Jedi Order so soon, but like, just like make a new life for himself and like.
No, I agree with that. I'm just saying with the product we got, I'm like,
okay,
this is fine. There's definitely a lot better ways that the Skywalker could have risen, but like, I'm fine with this.
Yeah. For now.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
Quick question, because this has been going on the internet and Kelvin just mentioned earlier. Ever since like the end of this trilogy, everyone's like, see the prequel trilogy is much better. To which I think we all can agree, hell fucking no.
The prequels are better than the
sequel trilogy?
Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely no. Absolutely.
I think we all agree on that one.
Yeah, we absolutely not.
The one thing we can all agree on, they at least had a plan. That plan was just falsely executed, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, it wasn't very executed well. The only, like, for me, I think like half the reason why people like to say like, oh, the prequels are better is because of all the memes that come out of the prequels. You know what I mean?
The Phantom Menace, Darth Maul, Jar Jar Binks, Attack of the Clones, Clone Troopers. Oh wait, there's a secret army. You know, and it's like Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Revenge of the Sith. Oh, Order 66. I am the Senate. Like that's literally. Although I will say, out of the three prequels, I enjoyed the third the most. Just because
everybody, because that's the most. Whenever people talk about a viewing order, they'd be like, watch episode 3, 4, 5, and 6, and choose however you want for the next.
1 and 2, just whenever. Yeah, it's just
Remember when
1 and 2 was like, eh.
Yeah, like remember when Force Awakens was coming out, Joe? You and me want to be like so like prepped for like this movie. We rewatched all the first 3 trilogies, the prequel trilogies, the original trilogies, and how much we loathe watching the prequels.
Yeah, I remember we actually like looked up like an edit where that removed like most of Jar Jar's bullshit in the Phantom Menace.
It did not help.
It didn't help at all. In fact, it was much more boring.
Without Jar Jar.
Yeah, at least with Jar Jar, I now retroactively realize George had a point. You know, he was like, Jar Jar's the key to all this. He was right. It makes the movie less boring, but it's still not good. But still, no, I definitely agree. Episode 3 is definitely the best out of all of them. It's and I will always have a special place in my heart for it.
Even though it's still pretty bad.
Even though it is definitely bad, I still enjoy it.
The only thing I enjoyed from 3 was probably the Utapau, like any scenes from Utapau with the now famous meme. Boom. Hello there.
General Kenobi. You
Oh, there was
fool! I've been trained in your Jedi ways by Count Dooku.
and two more arms. Eh. Oh, which I don't know if you guys noticed. Grievous is literally holding both Anakin's and Kenobi's lightsabers. I don't know if you guys noticed that.
Wait,
The
really?
lightsabers that pop. No, if you take a closer look at that scene, whenever it says, "I've been trained in your Jedi arts, 1, 2, 3, 4," and then like his hands spin.
Blue ones.
Yeah, two blue ones. Which one of them is Kenobi's? Which Kenobi cuts off first? And also, one of them is Anakin's, but it's green. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
they couldn't make any more. It's
Yeah.
hard.
Exactly. I'm like,
We got the beat. We got the ultra sabers. You
I
can
mean,
any
yeah,
like
you got the instance, but you can't make like, oh, like let's just do another duplicate of Kenobi's and Skywalker's sabers as like as Kenobi's collection or whatever, or as Grievous's collection, and yeah. Then okay, so that and also the really I really enjoy the choreographed fight scene with Kenobi and Skywalker on Mustafar. That
I like it when they're not jumping.
Yeah, the jumping.
Yeah.
I mean, they're Jedi, so of course they gotta do a force jump. But just whenever they're ground
I
level
mean, when
and
just doing flips and over and over again, that's when I have a problem with it.
yeah,
But for me, like, yeah, 3 is probably the only good one. But then again, like, the good parts are few and far in between each other. Like, one of my favorite scenes from Episode 3 is like the whole the Darth Plagueis thing.
Yeah, like where the Palpatine explained the whole.
Anakin about Darth Plagueis. Saying,
Yeah.
Did
That
you
was a
know
good
what
scene.
happened to Lord
Plagueis
Sidious?
the Wise.
Yeah, Plagueis the Wise. And,
Yeah.
like he trained Sidious, and Sidious killed him in his sleep, which was him. There's even a book. I think there's a book, if I'm not mistaken.
It's been now made legend, so it's like not even canon apparently.
Yeah, but yeah.
So, but it's still a good book. I heard it's a good book. But no, moving on from that, because that was a nice little tangent, because I thought it would be funny to have.
Yeah, well, like which is better, the prequels or the?
I mean, like here's the thing. Here's the thing about the sequels. You can tell there's a lot of thought. You can tell there's a lot of love put into them. Just there wasn't a plan, and I think that's just like whoever's the higher up who's in charge of the Disney Star Wars thing. Kathleen Kennedy, right?
Yeah, Kathleen Kennedy,
Yeah, I mean, like,
charge of
like,
Lucasfilms.
Yeah, she's in charge of George Lucasfilms. I mean, I'm not the. I know, you said that, but she's in charge of it, and like I feel like she had an idea for it, but it's kind of like what felt like it's Star Wars. It's gonna make a lot of money either way, and they're basically right. Even though I feel like this one did less money than the past two.
Oh yeah.
Aside from that, there's no plan. They didn't have a plan. They didn't do anything else.
It was literally on. Yeah, I remember just like seeing a report on like whenever I did like Google search thing, and it's like, oh, Star Wars loses its lead after just a couple of weeks. It was literally in #1 for the first 2 weeks, and went to 2, went to 3, went to 4, went to 5. It just kept going down. It just it wasn't going down.
But see, here's the thing. It's like. I don't know. They might just do something with. She might do something, or she might be removed because apparently,
I honestly wouldn't be surprised if that would happen. Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm not saying it's her fault. I just feel like she wasn't the right person for it. But aside from that, this is what I want to get this next part of the conversation to go into.
Yeah.
Like, why do you think, Kelvin? I'm asking you this, and I'm asking this to you too, Joey. Why is it that Mandalorian, this new thing, is so well regarded compared to that of Rise of Skywalker in this trilogy that we have?
Joey, I'm gonna let you take the lead. I'm gonna need to process this a little bit, just because like you're comparing you're comparing like I don't know if apples to oranges would be a good comparison, but like one very good thing, but then one very bad thing. Yeah, TV series and a movie. Yeah, you're comparing apples to oranges. So Joey, I'm gonna let you take the lead. I need to process this a little bit.
I know, Kelvin.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that what about like what is it? What does Mandalorian have
that Rise of Skywalker?
The Rise of Skywalker, Force Awakens, Last Jedi didn't.
Okay. Yeah.
What did this show have that this better?
For me, I think it's more like I think the main issue with Rise of Skywalker, and I think you hinted at it before when you were talking about it, is that not only is this the end of the sequel trilogy, it's they essentially center it as the end of the entire like 9 movie saga. And I think for that reason alone, it gives it like unnecessary like hype, I guess, or rather unnecessary like
Expectations.
expectations, yeah. So it's sort of like, okay, if this is truly the end, it's gonna wrap everything up. Like we gotta like it has to like land perfectly, or it's gonna be a failure. And to most people, it's a big disappointment for them. While Mandalorian, I think, is sort of like kind of like Clone Wars to me, like where like you just it's like it's an expansion of the Star Wars universe. Like you get to see a new side of the Star Wars universe. It's like Clone Wars where you could like just you got to see the war and like got to see all these like the clones and their personalities and stuff in much in the same way as Mandalorian. I think to me is sort of like you get to see how the bounty hunters operate, especially the Mandalorian, and like this little side story that like has like at least as of now like has like some bigger crazier things going on, especially with the ending and like the next season. So I think for that alone, I think it's sort of like the like Rise of Skywalker just had like very lofty expectations for being essentially the end of the saga. Wow, and that probably caused a lot of disappointment considering how the movie has been received. And for Mandalorian, it's sort of like, hey, this is a new corner of the Star Wars universe you haven't seen before, and that's interesting to a lot of people. There isn't.
So would you say it's a sense of originality?
Kind of, but more so of like, hey, this is something that Star Wars hasn't done before. Check it out.
All right, Gavin, you got something for us? Or are you still
Yeah. Now that I've collected my thoughts, so to speak, and try to summarize this in like the best way possible without going too off tangent, um, I would say yeah, pretty similar answer to what Joey was saying. You know, this is like for Mandalorian, this is a completely new and like different, universe altogether. This one essentially diving into the world of the Mandalorians more and more. Like, we essentially got a bit of a sneak peek of what the Mandalorians are like already in the Clone Wars series, but now but now a first ever live action, a like an in series in it alone, just dedicated towards Mandalorians alone, nothing else. Yeah, the side characters here and there, cool, just for there, but with the main focus being on Mandalorian versus like 3 movies that the versus the sequels with we all I feel like especially whenever the news of it first broke out, we all was like, okay, cool, this is after right after 6, this is after 7, this is after 8, etc. We all had these high hopes, but then at the end of the day we were so disappointed, like even like what Joey was saying earlier, like one movie was based off of a critique from the previous. It's it's like that one quote I've been saying before, with I feel like with the sequel series, with the 3 movies, they overpromised but they underdelivered. But with Mandalorian on the other hand, they underdelivered but no, it was the other way for them. They underpromised.
They didn't
They
promise much,
underpromised. They didn't promise.
but they delivered.
But they delivered to the letter. That's my take on it. And like and again with Mandalorian, now we're gonna see even a more like of further detail, further storyline into like now uh I think Jin Jardine, now that's his name, his story now, and then like how Baby Yoda is gonna tie into this. Moff Gideon, Cara Dune, like all these unique individual characters with their own like story to carry the series versus a story where like this is the end with essentially the last Skywalker being this is the end of a saga, Anakin, Ray, and it's like boom, that's it. Like that's pretty much it. Like that's it's disappointing, yeah, but it's I'm just hoping if whatever, if they decide to do another saga or whatever, but in a different take, then I'm just hoping that it will be much better than essentially this one, per se. So
I mean,
that's my take.
yeah. I mean, I agree with both of you. I think Mandalorian just has this sort of it's new, but it's also old. You know what I'm saying? Because we were exposed to the bounty hunters in like was it episode 5, and we got a little bit more in like episode 2 with Django.
Jango Fett, yeah.
And yeah, we've always like known about like Django and Boba Fett, but like people were always liking those guys. They want to see more of that, and we finally got that while still like I think you said it best, Kelvin. Like they had it's they don't have a tie to something. It's
Yeah.
something new. But it still has this sort of feeling that hey, this is something new. They're also doing something old with like, and you get the new stuff with the Mandalorian, but you get that old stuff with Baby Yoda. Because let's face it, Baby Yoda, basically the old thing, something old from there, and he does like a lot of stuff that you be like, oh, that's actually what the Force does and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. I think that's why it's so good. But it also goes back. I feel like this has been a thing for Star Wars. Kevin, you can correct me on this.
Yeah.
That the movies were always kind of like the set, like this is how the world is, and while the other stuff outside of the movies, like Clone Wars, Rebels, Mandalorian, even like all the stuff that makes that Star Wars fans love, are the stuff that's outside the movies. Like the books, comics, the TV shows.
I agree with that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And
like
especially, yeah.
You're gonna say
and especially with like the books, even if they're not officially part of canon, even if the book series, the comic book series, are like some are considered canon, some are considered legend. Which is why this is one particular YouTube channel I follow, and he's all about Star Wars lore. He actually has a disclaimer in the beginning of every one of his videos. The lore master. He gets it to the T of like specifically exclaiming, "Hey, by the way, this is considered legends. This is considered canon." And then even comparing to the fact that there's actually two sides of a story where one is different than the other. It's not the same thing. It may be the same like characters involved in the same scenario, but the way the characters are played out in canon versus legend is completely played out. Especially, I know now the more popular, I think this is becoming a little bit more popular and a little bit more relevant, is the Vader comics. The Vader comics in general.
Dude, the Vader comics are amazing.
Yeah, and there's two sides. It's basically two sides of a coin where it's Vader, but it's like the side of Vader where you never see him before. Like in canon version, he's ruthless, he's brutal, he's the Emperor's right hand. But in Legends version, he's even though he's like the Dark Lord servant of the Sith, but he still has that sense of guilt. He still has that sense of like agony, pain. Like there's this one scene where they were comparing how Vader was how does Vader spend his free time in both canon. They're explaining in both canon and Legends version, and both were explained very uniquely. And I enjoyed it. That was actually my favorite like episode of the Lore Master that he explained is how does Vader spend his free time.
Everything you just said right now and everything you said earlier with like the lore of the Mandalorians, I was more interested in that in like a lot of the other Star Wars stuff that you'd seen in the films.
Yeah.
Because like, let's face it, this thing that made Star Wars the reason like a lot of people enjoy Star Wars is the world, is the mysticism. It's this sort of like it's sci-fi, but it's also fantasy.
Exactly.
Yeah. The movies tend to borrow from like films that George Lucas really enjoyed, but all this other stuff is like their own little thing. That thing that makes the world feel full, an actual universe. And I think that's why Mandalorian is so well received, because it's the first time people who aren't as into the films or like aren't as into Star Wars as like say you, me, and Joey are, where we know stuff about like the Knights of the Old Republic or anything. Like I feel like you're more into it than I am, but like at the end of the day, Mandalorian sort of brings in like this interesting stuff for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, and who knows what happens in the next few years with Star Wars. I'll say this: even after watching like the Rise of Skywalker, does it hurt my love for Star Wars? No.
Nah,
I definitely agree with that.
I still, at the end of the day, we're all still gonna be considered Star Wars fans. It's that, we're all still gonna be considered Star Wars fans. We're all still gonna remember, like the memories it brought to us as kids growing up watching Star Wars, teenagers, adults, even when we get older, and hell, whenever all three of us have kids and like we take them to go see Star Wars or whatever, then it's like the only like one of the best things about Star Wars I really enjoy is like passing on the legacy from one to another.
Yeah.
With Qui-Gon to Obi-Wan, Obi-Wan to Anakin,
So on and so forth.
Obi, yeah, and it just keeps going, and like that's one generation after another that you're passing on the legacy to, and that's the one thing about the Star Wars universe that I enjoy. So,
No, yeah, I'm with you 100%.
uh-huh.
And like I said, like we don't know what the next like few years go happen.
Yeah.
Like Kevin Feige, the guy who's in charge of like Marvel, says wants to do a Star Wars film. I want to see how
Okay.
that turns
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
I'm very interested to see how that turns out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not over, guys. It just because it's one meh movie or bad movie does it mean that it's over? No, there's still a
Yeah.
lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
So
All
I think
right.
yeah, I think that's about it, right?
Yeah, I think that's the end.
So guys, aside from the technical interruptions, so altogether, the video itself is clocked in at, get this, 2 hours and 20 minutes. But again, even if you were to cut out all the technical glitches and all the difficulties, we're still well over an hour. So, man, this is a really good episode, honestly.
I don't know.
Especially,
We're getting a different time frame, but sure.
Well,
yeah.
I think it's just the duration of the Skype call.
Okay. So,
Well, I mean, still though, it's like, I don't know, how long does it say on your audio over on
well,
Zencaster?
I don't think that's what matters, but so long
But
as
still.
we get like for me when it comes to podcasting, the amount of time does not matter. It's the conversation. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter about the time.
Yeah. But honestly
So
though, this was a very productive conversation. Like we got our opinions crossed, and it's just like, what we thought about the Star Wars universe as a whole. I enjoyed
who
it.
knows? We might go back into this.
Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah.
So
So,
I think we should call it a day now because it's
Yes.
tiring. Calvin looks like he's got some sleep to catch up on.
yeah.
Yeah. So Dylan, take us away, buddy.
All right. So y'all know how it is. Y'all know how it works. Follow us on all of our social media pages: Facebook, Instagram. Don't mind the rain. Facebook, Instagram, Patreon. Support us on Patreon. So this shit ain't cheap. Support us and listen to us where all podcasts can be heard. Google Play, Spotify, Pandora, iTunes. If you're on iTunes, give us that 5-star rating. Leave us a comment, and of course, whenever the YouTube video drops, leave us a comment, give us a like, share this video. Just leave comments. Leave comments on, we like to hear you guys.
Yeah.
We like to hear y'all's inputs as well on how we do the episodes, or just comments on your thoughts on our conversation as well about what our topics. And even, hey, as always, if you have maybe a topic that you want us to talk about, we'll get to those as well. So, you never know.
Yep, and that pretty much sums it up. Guys, this has been a fun one. I want to do more of these, talks where we just talk about stuff, crazy stuff. Who knows? Who knows how the future holds? But always support us, always help us out. But yeah, it's been your boy Calvin. Take it away.
Your boy Kelvin.
It's been me, Joe.
And your boy Eli. And we're the Geek Centurions, and we're signing out.
Bye-bye.